and welcome to another edition of The Ride Danfo Conversations. Today, we'll be making a star patch restructuring, federalism, presidential, parliamentary, and separation of powers. The road gets bumpy, as you know, when we get to reforming, restructuring. Do we turn left to committee close, or do we turn right to referendum avenue? Which is your preference? And besides, what the heck is it that we have to do to rebuild this nation we all love so much? Now, permit me to evoke emotions with this. The first verse of our national anthem in 1960. Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribes and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. The reason I read out that part is to remind us that our sovereignty is what births our constitution. So strap on your seatbelts, hold on to the chair in front of you, and let's get this journey started. Now, my conductor today is back by popular demand. You all wanted her, and we had to strap her in to make sure she gets back. She cleared all her diary to make sure she's here for us. Ms. Omolara Oriye, lawyer and human rights activist, a.k.a. Dr. Lara in View. That's what I call you. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, everyone.
We're happy to have you. So we're going to go jiggy jaga, as you know, but we're going to get there.
Absolutely.
And at the end of it, we want to get to a point where we have an idea, even if we can't, find the solution to exactly what do we need to do to rebuild this nation we all love so very much.
Yeah.
So last week, we went over the constitutional history of Nigeria. We talked about Macpherson, Littleton, yada, yada, yada. But now we all know that we are in the Fourth Republic. So very quickly, let me just tell everybody, First Republic, in case you've all forgotten, 1963 to 66. Second Republic, 79 to 83. That's the OBJ when he changed the constitution. Third Republic, 1992 to 93, when Babangida thwarted, yes, you know what. And Fourth Republic is what we are living in presently. So, Lara,
yes,
let's unpack that Fourth Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, right, because you all asked again, Lara and I will have a discussion for the first 20 minutes of the show before we start taking your calls. The numbers to call, female, 01465 7190. That's female only. 01465 7190. The main line is 0700 993 993 993. Thank you. Lara, let's get started.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
This. So the 1999 Constitution that we all live with right now, tell us about the main characters of it.
All right. So the 1999 Constitution starts with the preamble, right? It says, "We, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria," and says a bunch of things, having firmly, solemnly resolved to live in unity and harmony as one indivisible, indissoluble sovereign state. All of those things go on. The 1999 Constitution particularly is what we use as a country right now. So in 2010, there was some level of reform that happened with the Constitution. It was particularly in regard to issues around elections and all of that stuff. And interestingly, that reform that happened did not include, because most of it was on elections and some issues around devolution of power and stuff like that. But the important thing is that even though election reform was affected, by altering some level part of the Constitution, it did not include women's participation in public offices and in political field, right? So that's something I want you to keep in mind. So the 1999 Constitution begins with a preamble, I've mentioned that, and then it goes straight into the idea of separation of power. I'm going to call that the concept of separation of power, right? The 1999 Constitution basically provides, right, in sections 4, 5, 6, and a part of section 8, right, that The power shall be separated between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. States the powers of these three parts of government. Maybe for explanation purpose, let me just say the executive, takes the executive and ceremonial arm powers of the state, execution of basically ministries like education and all of those things, right? The legislature makes the law. They are the ones in the National Assembly and the House of Representatives. I almost forgot that. And then the judiciary, obviously, is the judicial, as in the court arm of the government, right? Which starts from the Supreme Court with the CJN at the helm of affairs and right down to the magistrate courts and the customary courts, actually. So, why is the concept of separation of powers important? Aristotle was the one who said that absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? And we have talked about this last week, that a constitution is not just a body of law, it is also an instrument that grants powers to a state, regulate powers to a state, and then mentions where a power must be withheld from the state. So the idea of separation of power falls into the purview of a constitutional democracy in the sense that all powers within a state will not be handed over to one arm of government. So,
therefore ensuring there's no corruption
Absolutely.
and ownership
Absolutely.
and absolution.
I was going to get into that. One of the things, major features of separation of powers is that these arms of government do some sort of oversight work over one another's operations, right? So, for example, in Nigeria, if you're trying to change a law, you must go through, you don't have to, but it is important for you to go through the courts, right? Present that case before a judge, juxtapose the whatever law you're trying to get struck down side by side with the Constitution, and let the court make a judgment, right? Whatever judgment is passed in the court of law is binding and has the force of law, right? So, even though the legislature makes law, the courts get to make law through judgments, right? I don't want to go into sources of law because that's not what we are doing today. But in just a short overview, separation of powers ensure that all power within a state is not granted to one arm or one person or one body. It makes sure that these powers are separated for efficiency and for I said the word just now. The English words are running away from me right now. for
Well, to ensure there's no absolution.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we're just basically checking on what one another is doing and ensure that people are not exercising.
That power is not contained in one
and that people are not
government.
even performing, people don't have access to ultra-virus power, right? That you're not behaving above the law, right? That's one feature of 1999 Constitution. Let's talk about the same Constitution. Continued the presidential system that was introduced in 1979 Constitution. And basically, a presidential system of government is a system where an individual who is called the president is vested with real executive power. I mentioned that earlier. So under separation of power, mix that with presidential system of government, it means that the executive arm of the government is governed by the president, right? The legislature comprises of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives, and even when it comes to states, the legislature includes the State House of Assembly and other structures like that, right? So, the president is usually elected for a term of 4 years in Nigeria. Section 130 to 140 of the Constitution provides for the role of the president. I must add that from Section 130 to 140, talking about the president, the vice president, and other powerful people in our country, all of these were written in the male pronoun. That means that if we are going literally by the Constitution, right, only men will have access to these spaces. If we are supposed to understand, the arguments in law, there is a jurisprudential argument that claims that the generic use of he in laws and all of that are expected to cover every form of society. But feminist legal theorists believe that if you want to say something, you say exactly that. If you look quickly at the critical discourse analysis, it says that when language is used in a certain type of way, it is possible that it creates a hegemonic type exclusivity that other people won't have access to and will be punished for not having access to that structure.
And it's basic English. It just means that
Absolutely.
it engineers your mind to always think of the male rather than the female.
So not only will your mind be conditioned to think that these things belong to only men, your even in the application of these laws, right? Because there are ways to interpret the Constitution. We have the literal, the purposive, and other ways, right? But a literal interpretation of the Constitution would mean that the president must compulsorily be a man. Let's just move on from that. Then the Constitution provides for us in Chapter 2. This is my favorite thing. Actually, I was talking to one of my old bosses yesterday, and he actually gave me a book on the socioeconomic rights in Nigeria, because what he does is a lot of adjudication.
What is the book called?
The
because
book
we
is,
should recommend
absolutely,
these
I want to
things.
recommend it. The book is written by Mr. Femi Falana, one of the foremost human rights lawyers in the country. He wrote a book titled Socioeconomic Rights Law in Nigeria. It's a new book, and that book basically shows you how adjudication in socioeconomic rights work in Nigeria. Why am I saying this? Everything is connected. In section 2, let me call it chapter 2 of the Constitution, it provides for the obligations of the government, right? The socioeconomic obligations of the government. These include things like health, education, housing, shelter, food, access to, things like things that would lift you out of poverty, like work, right? Unfortunately, the same Constitution, I think in section 56, part C or so, if I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, don't call and say so. Just read it. So basically, it provides that all the things in chapter 2 of the Constitution are non-justiciable. What does non-justiciability mean? It means that you cannot adjudicate on those issues. You cannot take it to court and say, look, I demand my right to education and all of that. Interestingly, that's changing.
Important. So
absolutely,
we, the citizens, can't go to court.
No, we don't have a right to shelter. We don't have a right
and say,
to housing.
Government, why am I living on the
health
streets?
Care, yes. However, the landscape obviously will change as with anything. Some cases have been filed in court, and so far, the right to education is the one that is mostly that has come under fire the most, right? And we can see that such a change can be seen in, for example, the SUBEB Act, right? That provides for free compulsory education for children up to a certain age. We haven't gotten there yet because...
So let me just stop you there. So what
Absolutely.
you're saying is, our constitution, that same 1999 constitution,
Yes.
doesn't actually mandate governments to educate us.
No.
That's incredible.
It is incredible, and unfortunately, I must say that, Chapter 2 of the Constitution has contributed. This might be a reach, but I promise you, if you listen to me and think about it, it is true.
So you have to go slow
Chapter
with
2,
us then.
Chapter 2 of the Constitution, one can draw a straight line from those provisions to the weaponization of poverty in Nigeria by the political elite. If you do not educate the people, they do not have access to basic human dignity. They cannot live above poverty. Right now, about 70% of Nigerians live below the poverty line. Per research, last year during COVID, about 15% more of Nigerians fell into that poverty line, right? These are the issues. If a constitution cannot protect your right to health care, to freedom from poverty, how then shall we create a state where some people will not weaponize poverty, lack of education, ignorance, lack, needs, and all of those things? So whenever you think about, political touts, people collecting rights, I know a lot of people say things about the collection of rights and people should want better. Let me tell you, poverty strips a human being of dignity, right?
That's right.
And one cannot, under no circumstance should we blame the people who take those things, because if you see your government once in 4 years, whatever they bring is what you'll take. We must raise Nigerians to a level where people can have a choice. You know what makes people have a choice? Access to education.
Right. So let me stop you there. So at this point, especially when you talk about, the dishing out of rice and, and cups and all these things that happens every 4 years. Our constitution is deliberately written to subjugate the majority of the
I believe
population.
so. I do believe that's my position.
It is positioned to handicap growth.
Absolutely. Of the
Nigerian
everyday
dream.
Yes, of the everyday Nigerian. So if I want to move on from that because you have articulated it properly.
Okay.
That's basically what is ongoing.
Let's
For
go.
example, if you don't have education or healthcare, for example, you should be able to sue the government. You ask me why. The government basically are our staff. I know that
End of
sounds
story.
weird, but the power belongs to the people. The power is controlled by the Constitution, grants powers to the government, is able to restrict those powers. But fundamentally, in a constitutional democracy, power belongs to the people.
Okay, let's move on to the next
Absolutely.
one.
Let's jump to chapter 4 directly. My favorite one, fundamental human rights. The 1999 Constitution contains fundamental human rights for Nigerians, right? So what are fundamental human rights? It's very simple. The right to life, right to freedom of movement, right to freedom, right to dignity, right? Right to freedom from invasion of privacy, right to freedom of expression. Unfortunately, more in recent time, when I talk about rights, I feel a little bit depressed because it looks as though every year, all across the world, the importance of rights continue to get eroded, and we are really grasping at straws, if we are being honest, right? The right to life is sacrosanct and should not be contravened, except by by the judgment of a competent court. Now, the question as to whether I believe in death penalty is a different conversation, but that is what the law states, right? Now, the right to movement, freedom of expression, all of those things are in chapter 4. And I must mention that these rights are to be granted to every Nigerian without any form of discrimination, without regard to gender, to anything that you might think is a discriminatory factor. Yes, everything. Every human being must have full access to this right. And interestingly, chapter 4 is then justiciable, right? You can take the government to court over chapter 4 of the Constitution. You can take your friend to court over chapter 4 of the Constitution. These things are provided for in the Enforcement of Fundamental Rights Procedure. That's the FREP rules, Fundamental Rights Enforcement Procedures of 2011, if I'm not being wrong. I just hope I'm not being wrong, to be honest. No, 2007. I think it was 2007. Yeah. So basically, FREP rules provide that you can, tells you the procedure to enforce your rights under Chapter 4. Now, let's talk about federalism, because it is a feature of the 1999 Constitution. The Constitution provides for a federal state, right? This is a system of government where power is shared between the states and the central government. It does this through various lists, right? Exclusive, residual, and concurrent lists. Now, the 1979 Constitution clearly states the details of the exclusive list, of the concurrent list, and of the residual list, right? However, in 1999, it is slightly glossed over, right? So Schedule 2 of the Constitution, this time I'm sure, Schedule 2 of the Constitution basically provides, right, that there shall be an exclusive list, and whatever is not on the exclusive list shall obviously belong to the residual and concurrent list. Let's talk about the content of the executive list. The executive list, firstly, are the things that the federal government have jurisdiction over. Right? Talk about arms, talk about drug law, talk about the aviation, talk about all of those kinds of things. The federal government has exclusive jurisdiction, just like the name suggests, right? The concurrent list are the things that state governments have, power over, right? So state governments can obviously legislate on crime. That is why you have the domestic violence law of Lagos State. You have other laws that are made by states, right? And those laws are fully functional within the states. This takes me quickly to separation of powers. The same way separation of powers works in the national level, at the national level, is kind of mirrored at the state level as well, right? Because we have the executive arm of the government of a state, which is the governor of a state, right? The ceremonial, the execution, basically the one who carries out the day-to-day running of the state, right? Then we have the legislature. That is the state's house of assembly, right? So when a state makes a law, the law is made at the state house of assembly, assented to by the government, and becomes gazetted and is fully functional as a law in that state. Now, federalism basically separates the state from the federal and the local government. We have talked about the list, right? I quickly mentioned the residual list. The residual list has things on it that can be legislated upon both by the federal government and the state government. Now, this takes me to the local government. Where is the local government in all of this conversation?
Of course.
Right? My position on the local government issue is that we need to empower those grassroots governments.
I'm going to be interrupting you in a few minutes. I can see.
Absolutely.
Let me just help everybody. We promised you we would open up the lines around about now. The lines are now open. Go ahead.
All right, so let me talk about sovereignty. Sovereignty is important, right? Because the constitution in Nigeria is referred to as the ground norm. What is the ground norm? I'm thinking the ground norm well, I'm not thinking, I know that the ground norm.
Yeah, because I've heard that by many lawyers say
yeah.
that. What does it actually mean? It's Latin, right?
Yes, it means that it is the supreme law of a state.
The ground norm.
There is no law above the Constitution. In fact, the Constitution states that if there is any law that is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, that law shall be struck down to the extent of its inconsistency, right? So you cannot make a law that violates fundamental human rights, for example. You cannot make a law that contravenes material provisions of the Constitution. That is not allowed. Lara did not say so. The Constitution of Nigeria says so. Nigeria officially, obviously, became a sovereign state in 1960 when it became totally free from the colonial influence. Thus, a feature of sovereignty must be embedded in the Constitution, right, to represent this. Because I told you last week that the Constitution does not just give powers, restrict powers. It also is a representation of who a people are. And if we are free people, the Constitution must reflect that fact.
Excellent. Now, at this, we have a call coming in. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you? What's your name? And where are you calling from?
My name is Frank.
Frank. Hello, Frank. Go ahead. Your
I'm
comment.
calling from the Lagos
Your
Island.
question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to get it correctly to what she was saying about the residual list. Is the residual list a law exclusively reserved for the states to make? Because she said it's both the federal and the states can legislate on.
No, that's a concurrent list.
Which is concurrent.
Sorry, ask your question again, please.
I just wanted to be sure.
Okay, ask your question again, please. Very
Hello?
slow. What your exact question again, please?
My question is, who legislates on residual list?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Next call. Hello. What's your name and where you calling from, please?
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. You are Mr. Chan calling from Ikorodu.
Your comments, please, sir.
Yes. It is true that the constitutional provisions enhance the freedom of Nigerians, and that whatever we do must be backed up by that constitution. But unfortunately, over the times, we have never had a leader who is willing to follow both the spirit and the letter of the Constitution. Rather, what we have is selective obedience, selective policy and implementation of what the Constitution says. And until we have a leader who is ready and have the political will to follow both the letter and the spirit of Constitution, we will continue witness what we are witnessing today.
Thank you, sir.
And even if the next government coming, would that the willingness to follow the spirit and the letter of the Constitution will continue to complain, to lament, and it's very unfortunate unless we decide to have people constitution that whoever that take over power must be willing to obey. A failure in which to obey, we put him out. That is the only way forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Valid points. Another call we have coming in. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Hello?
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning or good afternoon. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Okay, I'm listening to a show on 92.3 of people calling to sing, so that was why I called.
Well, you're calling the wrong number.
Okay. Please, do you know your line?
No. I've got to. No, I don't. Right, we have many calls coming in. Oh dear, I love my Nigerians. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Emecheta Ofondo. I'm calling from Lagos.
Okay, your question or comment, please, very quickly, sir.
Okay, the comment I want to make, or I don't know whether it's a comment or a question, is concerning the Constitution. considering that this constitution was put together by military governments, by a particular section of the country, can we really claim that the constitution was made by we the people? Does it really belong to we the people? And what will it take for us to really initiate a change in this constitution that will truly, really reflect the will of all Nigerians?
Excellent question. Thank you. We're going to be covering that much later, so stay listening. One more call before we go back to Lara. Okay. Right, Lara.
All right.
The first question was about the exclusive list and the concurrent list.
Yeah. So quickly, exclusive list is within the purview of the federal government, exclusively, like the name suggests. Concurrent list, both the federal and the state government have jurisdiction over the objects or the subjects of the concurrent list. And the residual list are the things within the purview of a state. Like I mentioned, the legislation on crime. I gave an example of the domestic violence law of Lagos State. A state can make a law about issues that are occurring within those states. A state can make a criminal law in that regard, right? So, yeah, that's basically it. Exclusive, concurrent, residual, federal government, both state and federal government, residual, state government.
Okay.
Thank you for that question.
Right, we have another call coming in. Okay, the line is gone. Right, where did we get
All right,
to?
so I think I was just talking about the last feature that I just isolated for this conversation.
Hold on.
Which is...
Let's talk. We have to keep talking. Hello, what's your name and where you calling from, please?
Good afternoon. This is Mr. Sunday calling from Ogun State.
Okay, hello. What's your comment or question, please?
Yes, comment and question. Rather, questions, sort of. I think I concur with the last caller. It's part of what I wanted to say. Does the right, is there in the Nigerian Constitution, the right is given to the president to spend the Nigerian money going abroad to take care of himself? And why white citizens are bedridden, like I have been bedridden. At times, my companion is Nigerian Info. At times, I have to use the small credit I have. I'm bedridden of ill health of almost 200,000 sites and spinal cord. Then the president is spending millions abroad. Is there anywhere it is in the Nigerian Constitution? Just like you stated that there's the Constitution specifies that there's no right for Nigerian government to take care of education. Then, too, is there in Nigerian Constitution where, though it was put together by certain parts of the country that has been affecting other parts of the country, that Nigeria should change from a Federal Republic of Nigeria and gradually to Federal Republic of Fulani Northerners? That's my question.
Okay, sir, thank you very much. First of all, my sincere sympathies to you. I wish you well, I wish you better, and thank you for even just spending a bit of your strength to call into the show and to continue to listen to Nigerian Info. We're really the only station that matters. I said so. Anyway, Lara, let's answer the question.
Okay.
Well, first of all, about the president going abroad, it's a valid question, right?
It is a valid question.
Is there anything in our constitution that gives him the right to do that?
No.
Right.
Well, from what I know, the constitution does not provide for, medical tourism. So I don't really know.
There we go.
That's basically the position of the law on that issue. So
the second part of his question was changing from federalism, I think he said. Yes. He asked the question, I forget now, whether there was anything in the Constitution where Nigeria changed from to federalism.
So before 1979, we were practicing a parliamentary type government, right? So, but I think that from the beginning, we've always had a level of federalism. It became apparent,
which you told us about last week.
Yes, I did tell us last week. How we went from generation to generation to what we have now. But the clearest codification of a federalist state was done in 1979 Constitution. And the 1999 Constitution has continued that, right? And, as mentioned earlier, that federalism is a situation in which there are different layers of government, right? And when I say layers, I don't mean that in the strictest sense. I mean that there is a federal, state, and local government. And all of these stages of government should have their own powers allotted to them. And, in the federalist state, we'll have some sort of centralization at the top.
Okay.
Right?
All right. We're actually going to touch on that a little bit more later. Right. I have a comment here. Hello, Mrs. Bakari. Oh, dear, I'm not married to my father. You can find me a husband, though. Ms. Bakari Yusuf. I want to be anonymous. My question is, some laws in the Sharia law in some states in the north are in contravention of the grand norm. Yeah, the grand norm of the Constitution. So, where does the Sharia law start and end? And what measures have to be made for those laws to bow to the laws of the Constitution? Thank you very much, Anonymous. We'll answer that question. We have another call coming in. Lara, you've got that question, right?
Yes.
Okay, regarding Sharia laws. Listening to the program on Nigeria Info, and the things I'm learning about now just reminds me how uneducated and unaware most of us are about our laws and rights. Thank you from Deborah Nwahiri. Right, we have another call. Hello, what's your name and where you calling from, please? Okay, call's gone. Lara, so that question there about Sharia law, and I think it's something that everybody, people often think about and are afraid to ask, hence the anonymous. Where does the Constitution sit in there?
I would actually like to answer this question a bit later.
A bit later. Okay, let's hold on to it when we talk about it. Right. So what? Oh, we have another call. We've got calls coming in. Right. Okay. Hello. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Richard. I'm calling from Ogun State.
Okay. Can you turn your radio down, please?
Okay, just give me some seconds.
Okay, it's cut off. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from, please? Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your radio down when you call.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir.
Madam Lara, right?
Well, Lara is my guest, yes, the lawyer that we have here.
Yeah, that is your guest I'm talking about.
Yes, correct.
Good afternoon, madam.
Lara?
Good afternoon.
Lara, good afternoon, yeah. Madam, good a thing. This constitution, this question is for Lara. Is it the same one they used right from when President Obasanjo and late President Yar'Adua, then President Jonathan? Is it the same constitution?
Yeah, it's the 1999 Constitution, yes.
Hello?
I just answered
That's the 1999 Constitution in which we've had four presidents.
Okay, good. That is what...
Okay, next question. Okay, we have another caller. Your radio is still on. We're going to have to cut you off if your radio is on when you call. Right, Lara, let's continue. So, 1999 Constitution. Oh, before I continue, we have a question here. Temi Tokwe says, does our constitution allow some states to follow the Sharia law instead of the laws of the country? Okay, we're going to cover that later. You want to do it now?
So,
okay.
Section 275.
You've got like literally 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
The Section 275 of the Nigerian Constitution allows for the creation of state Sharia court of appeals, right? So the argument is that the Constitution implicitly reserves discretion to the states to create their own Sharia laws and as courts of first instance, right?
Which means what? You have to speak to us gentle in English.
I will. Which means that these Sharia courts can oversee issues like just the magistrate court or the high court, right? So criminal issues that contravene Sharia laws can be taken to those courts. Now, the Constitution already does that. So states can derive that power from the Constitution to set up those establishments, right, that use the Sharia law. If you want to read further, just go through Section 275 to Section 277 of the Constitution. It shows you all you need to know about the relationship between the Nigerian Constitution of 1999 and Sharia law in Nigeria.
Excellent. So let's move down now. Let's move on with the unpacking the 1999 Constitution, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I think I was talking about. Now I have to let me just talk about the last two things: supremacy of the Constitution and independence of the judiciary. The 1999 Constitution provides for the supremacy of the Constitution. We talked about the Grand Norm earlier, right? Yeah. It means that the Constitution of Nigeria is supreme over all other laws in the country. If you want to see more of that, you can go read through Section 1, Section 2 of the Constitution. That will provide you with, all the details you need in regard to the supremacy of the Constitution for like some level of adumbration. Oh wow! I just behaved like a total lawyer.
I know. We keep saying be gentle. That's why I keep saying to be gentle with us.
So to explain this a little bit further, thank you.
Yes.
Section 1, subsection 3 of the Constitution provides that if any other law is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution shall prevail, and that other law shall be struck down to the extent of its inconsistency, shall be void actually, to the extent of its inconsistency.
Which basically means, in layman's language, the Constitution is always boss.
Always the boss.
Over everything else.
Even if a law was made by the National Assembly, and that law is in contravention of the Constitution, it is void from the beginning. That means that law cannot take root in society. Okay. Unfortunately, that is not the case that we have found on ground. But yeah, I think that the awakening that Nigeria needs is gonna come, and hopefully we all partake of it, and we all, obviously move on to a better future as a country.
Okay, so are we going on to the last section now?
That's the last one.
Okay.
The last feature that I've isolated in the 1999 Constitution. The judiciary is the third arm, right, of government. That's in the original structure that I explained to us earlier about separation of powers. I said the third arm, not the weakest arm, right? All three arms of government are equal, must perform oversight duties on one another. But there is jurisprudence, for example, in South Africa and some other countries, that puts the judiciary in the position of a watchdog over the behavior of the executive and the legislature.
Okay. We've got to go on commercial break right now. We'll be back, Lagos.
Absolutely.
Danfo Conversations is a 90-minute interactive magazine show augmented by special guest interviews. We'll be exploring the social-political and the social-cultural issues in Nigeria whilst weaving you through the lunchtime traffic of Lagos. Join me, Iriti Bakari Yusuf, every Friday
1 to 2:30 p.m.
on Nigeria Info 99.3 FM, your number one station for talk. Now let's talk.
You're listening to your number one station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
In the heart of Lagos. News, talk and sports. Only on one dial. 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Yes, good day. It's exciting to sit in here today with the excellent team. Allow me to say that from Peeps Global. From the team I've got here, I've got Mr. Dan Akor. I've also got Vivian. Yep. And let's begin from the very beginning. What's Peeps Global Trading Company all about?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, my people. Pips Global Trading Company is an educational platform that helps and equips people with the right skill set to navigate the world's largest money market. And when we talk about the world's largest money market, allow me to say that the world's largest money market is Forex. Forex does a whopping of $6.3 trillion every single day. So I am so passionate talking about Forex every day because it is not something that has changed my life alone. It is something that has changed the lives of many people around me. And that is what Pips Global Trading Company is all about.
How can people use the company tools?
Yeah, it's awesome to say that it's very, very simple, very easy and exciting to use the company's tools. Number one is because the company's tools is well simplified for everyone, even a newbie in the market, to be able to use. And one of the most amazing tools we have is the copy and paste platform. The copy and paste platform allows students that as you are learning, you are earning. And when we talk about learning and earning, we are talking about as a student, you get daily trade signals for free. And all you need to do is to copy it and paste it. As the gurus, as the people, the educators make money, you also make money alongside. You see, so it is exciting. And we also have the Akodan Triangle Strategy. We also have the Akodan Classic. We have the ebooks whereby you could be able to study from the comfort of your office, from the comfort of your business place, from the comfort of your house, you see, so that everyone can be able to profit and benefit from this global market. So the company's tools is actually awesome and is very, very well simplified for everyone to use.
All right, now let's talk about the category of people that can do this business. Who and who can get involved?
The first thing is, if one person can do it, everyone can do it. If I can do it, if I can become a master trader, then everyone can become a master trader. You know why? Because I never knew anything about the forex market, until the day that I went for a mentorship section, which I'm going to talk about right now, which I expect every one of you to be there tomorrow. And the mentorship section allows you to get into forex so easy. Why we show you the possibilities of this market. For how can you be at this mentorship section? All you need to do is to SMS the word mentorship to the number 0812 471 7275. I call that number again, 0812 471 7275. So everyone can do the business. When you come tomorrow, you're definitely going to see different categories of people. You will see businessmen, you will see people, baristas, doctors, name it. You see, everyone can actually do forex. You know why? Because right now you can navigate the world's largest money market, which is forex, from the comfort of your house, from the comfort of your office, especially using the platform Pips Global Trading Company, helping you, guiding you to be able to profit daily from this market.
You're meant to have a one-on-one presentation. When would that be?
Tomorrow, 10 a.m., you need to be there.
At 64 Ikorodu Road, Fadeyi bus stop.
If you are not there, you are going to miss out. You know the reason why? It takes an encounter for someone's financial life to change. I remember the day that I heard this on radio and I went for the meeting. And I tell you the truth that I wasn't expecting as much as I got that day. But when I saw the possibility that even a newbie, even someone who have not seen the Forex chart before can do the business, I have to dive into it. And I tell you, it has been the best decision I have made all my life. That's why you need to quickly SMS mentorship so that the full details of how you can be at this event will be sent to your line. But all you need to remember is SMS mentorship to this number. The number is 0812 471 7275. I call that number again, 0812 471 7275. If you SMS this mentorship right away, someone is going to get back to you immediately. But 10 a.m. tomorrow, I want to see you. And when you are coming, please kindly come with your nose marks. Exactly.
Now let's talk about your experience as a forex trader and trainer. Just share a bit about what you've seen going through it.
It's an awesome experience, my brother. How would you feel if you get to learn a skill set that didn't just set you free, but also set the members of your family free, and even outside the members of your family? That means strangers. That's why I am so excited. So talking about my experience as a trainer, as an educator, when you could see people come, people that actually maybe are deep in depth, and they could come to the platform, and in just little or no time, they have been able to learn this skill. They have been able to use this skill to help themselves out of that issue. And we've seen a lot of people who felt like, well, can Forex actually work for me? I'm a housewife. I really don't want something that will make me lose my money. And right away, they're learning the skill set, and their husbands get so excited about what they are doing to the point of even coming to our platform to also become a student. So with all of that, it gets me more excited day by day. And that's why I would tell us that you listening to me right now can also do this. You need to SMS mentorship. You need to be at that event tomorrow. You need to come see what people are doing with this skill set. You need to see that truly this skill set will not just give you financial freedom, but financial security. SMS mentorship to this number, 0812 471 7275. I call that number again, 0812 471 7275. Lastly, 0812 471 7275. Then my personal experience as a trader, because it's a different thing for you to be a trainer and for you to be a trader. You see, every day by day, I smile out from this this market every day by day. In fact, before some people wakes up, I had already closed down my targets for the day. And mind you, my target for the day that I'm talking about making from this forex is something that some people can't even say for a year. You need to learn the skill. See, everything is in knowledge. What you don't know, you can't pay you consistently. That's a mistake a lot of people do. They don't know this thing, but they want to earn from it. They don't see. A wise man says, don't put your money in a system you know not about. You keep giving your money to someone. Can you trade for me? You see, what is the assurance that you are going to get the agreed payment? You see, and even when you are getting the agreed payment, the day the person says it's done, that source of income is closed. That is why you see people don't get financial security by getting a job, not by doing investment under a scheme. Because if that scheme shuts down, that source is shut down. That's why you need to learn these skill sets. And that's why you need to be at that event tomorrow. You know why? Because everyone are excited trading forex right now, and you also can be excited. You see, Vivian is here. If Vivian can do this business, everyone can do the business. She's excited as a forex trader. She's excited as a forex educator. You know why? Because she came to Pips Global as a novice about the market. She came to Pips Global because she needed a financial security, someone who had traveled around the world, someone who had masters outside this country. But you see, she came looking for how she could learn a skill that will last her for the future. That's one thing she has done that has benefited her so well. She's here in the studio, and Vivian, I can give you the space to just say something.
So my name is Vivian Richards. As my mentor here has mentioned, you know, having worked in the banking industry, traveled all over the world, I found out I was still hungry. You know, I was looking for something. So when I realized that what I was really looking for was freedom, you know, freedom of my time, freedom of my space, and of course financial freedom. I thought, what could give me that, even as being a consultant? And that didn't happen for me until I got to know my mentor here, Dan Akor, who took me by the hand and showed me the way through forex market, the world's largest financial market. You know, forex is the thing that can give you the freedom, because you trade from anywhere and everywhere. You can trade on a beach, on the Bahamas, Miami. You make the same amount of money you make from anywhere in Nigeria, anywhere you are in the whole world. And because the market is open 24 hours a day, 5 days in a week, you can trade at any time. You can decide to do your other businesses, other job you're doing based on your passion. You can decide to do that in the daytime and wake up at night and trade. You know, before others wake up, you've already closed in your large profits. So, and that's why you need the knowledge to start up. You know, that's one good thing I like about Pips Global. Pips Global is not an investment platform. It is an educational, purely an educational platform. And you have the information you know. And once you get this knowledge, it goes with you all through your life, as far as you'll be able to hold and make use of your smartphone. You know, so because once you get this knowledge, you'll be able to even pass it on to your generation and your family members. So that's why Pips Global is a place for you to be, a place for you to come and learn how to trade forex. You become a professional forex trader. And that is why you have to be at this mentorship section tomorrow. I want to see you tomorrow, because I will be there as well to do my own bit, taking you by the hand and showing you the exact same way it worked for me. So for you to be there, you have to text mentorship to the number 081 247 17275. I'll take that again. You have to text the word mentorship to the number 081 247 17275. Guys, I've gone through school. I've done my master's abroad. Everything, all the time and the money I spent cannot be compared to the information and the value I have gotten within this short period I've been at Pips Global to learn forex market. See you there tomorrow.
So guys, you've heard it all. You've heard it all. Be at this event tomorrow. Mentorship, and the mentorship goes to this number 0812 471 7275. See you there. Thank you very much.
Number one station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
You don't have to leave home without us again. Listen on the air and online. Just search Nigeria Info FM on the Apple app or Google Play Store and never miss a thing. Your number one station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
This is Downfall Conversations with Ireti Bakari.
And welcome back. Sorry, we had to take that break. Now, I'm still with my guest, Omolara Oriye. Lara, now, we've gone through all the characters of the 1999 Constitution. Now, I want us to talk things that are being discussed now.
Yeah.
So we have reforming versus restructuring.
Yeah.
I want us to talk presidential versus parliament, and I want us to talk federal versus confederation.
Okay.
Where do you want to start first? We've only got 30 minutes. We're going to have to take calls. So I'm going to be interrupting you.
No worries at all. I'll jump in quickly and just talk about federalism, confederalism.
So,
We'll do
okay.
parliamentary, presidential, and then we'll wrap it up with reform. How about
Super.
that?
That's
all right, great. So
yes.
federalism basically refers to a system of government in which power is split between the national or federal government and state or regional governments, right? Federalism, I already, talked a lot about that when I spoke about the lists within the Constitution, right? It is important to note, though, that the regional governments have independent powers and responsibilities, right? So federalism allows a regional government to have their own legislature, executive and judiciary branches, through which laws can be passed, interpreted and enforced. I spoke earlier about separation of powers, right? The legislature creates the law, judiciary implements the law, executive I really don't want to say execute, but executes the law. Yeah. So quickly, on the other hand, is confederalism, right? A system of government in which sovereign power is held by the regional governments to which a national government is accountable, right? The member states are independent and separate. However, they give some powers to the central authority for reasons such as mutual security, convenience, efficiency, or whatever other reason may be deemed fit in that circumstance, right? So member states in a confederalism are the ones that appoint the central authority, which can make the rule and will pass that passes as law over all the other constituents, right? So basically, the difference between federalism and confederalism is that in federalism, 3 stages of government, 2 in some places. Power is split between the central and the state or regional government. In the case of Nigeria, include the local governments, right? And then in a confederalism, the power lies with the regional or state governments, right? While the national government or the central government is accountable to these regional governments. I think that the difference has been made super clear. I think I'm going to jump right into presidential forms, type of governance.
The difference between
Absolutely.
presidential and parliamentary.
Absolutely.
But I think, are we about to go on the news headlines? We got 1 minute, so just
All right,
start,
okay, quickly.
and then we'll go to the news headlines.
No worries at all.
It's
So,
only 2 minutes.
Many
so.
of the world's governments, right, are modeled in some degree like the United States of America. Even Nigeria did that. After independence, we kind of pivoted, and that's where all the federalism business came from. Because the UK is a unitary state, even though it has evolved in the past few years and had some regional type arrangements, but the UK is a prime example of a unitary state, right? So, in Nigeria, we used to have the parliamentary system of government, right? Let me just go definitions in 30 seconds. Presidential system of government, I told you earlier, has a president that does the ceremonial, the day-to-day running of the country, right? It derives its powers from the executive list within the constitution, right? Let's talk about that. President does not only serve as head of state, but he or she is also in charge of the executive branch of government. He or she has the power to appoint members of their cabinet and other people that they want to do, their governance with, right? A major advantage of presidential systems of government is that the powers are balanced by a legislature.
Okay, I've got to stop you there. We have to go to the news headlines very quickly. News update, rather.
You're listening to your number 1 station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
So, Laura, sorry, I interrupted you whilst you were explaining the presidential system. Please go ahead.
So I was talking about the major advantage of presidential systems of government is that it enhances the separation of powers, the original purpose of separation of powers, right? Not circumstances that have the president and the judiciary and all the three arms of government colliding together to do things. No, they're supposed to work together and also act as oversight, like, as a source of oversight authority on one another. Now, I'm going to jump quickly into the reason why this is important, right? Since the president must share his powers with independent body of elected legislatures, it requires the president and the legislature to work together through a process of conflict and compromise. It also opens the door for different kinds of ideas. Now, in the parliamentary system, right, the executive is divided into two. You have the head of state and the head of government, right? You have the president, and then you have the prime minister, right? In this kind of circumstance, right? The executive and legislative arms of government also are combined. Let me give an example. Let me give an example of maybe South Africa, right? So if the president is, if a new government is elected, right, the president emerges from the parliament, right? Because the legislature,
of course,
and the presidential arms of government work together and are merged on some level, right? And this reduces new ideas, right? It is easier in this kind of situation for party politics to trump growth and democracy and the important things in that government, because they are from the same party, are working together, and stuff like that. I'm going to pause so that
yes, because I need to. Yes, because I need to read this right.
Absolutely.
We have comments on the WhatsApp. Is it true that the Constitution only allows some government officials to? I can't see the rest of that. Good afternoon, Miss Iriti. You keep on unboxing what these so-called. I can't read the rest of it. Yes. Right. You keep on unboxing what these so-called governments are doing. Okay. I can't see all of your message, but I think I get the point. Thank you. We have a call coming through. Hello, good afternoon. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Hello, ma.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Some of us that are calling today, blaming the Constitution, we don't suppose, because they marketed this present government to us. It wasn't like this now. I mentioned to you about 3 past presidents. It wasn't like this. But with the ones there now today, the thing gets worse. That is why you hear people condemning the Constitution. The Constitution was there before this very present government or the president coming. You hear somebody complain about Fulani, whatever. It wasn't like this before. And I keep on saying it. The man still have a room to make changes. So, madam, I want to thank you. I want to thank Nigeria Info. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, okay, I've got all of your message now, Mr. V from Lekki. Good afternoon, Miss Iriti. You keep unboxing what these so-called politicians are trying very hard to keep Nigerians from knowing about themselves, especially the history of our existence. Thank you so much to you and your guest. Great job. Thank you. We have calls coming in. Your name and where you calling from, please. Good afternoon.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
My name is Nelson.
Hello, Nelson.
Ma, I want to tell you that. Hello?
I'm listening.
Hello.
I am
Nigeria,
listening.
British is still colonizing Nigeria. But people would not know. Britain is still colonizing, but they are not present. They are using Fulanis to call. That is why you are suffering in Nigeria. Simple. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question. Next caller, rather. Right. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you calling from, please.
This is Amaka, calling from River.
Hello, Amaka.
Yeah, I want to talk about this government student. I want to appreciate, yes, everything she has been saying.
Okay. Thank you, Amaka. Thank you very much. Hello. Okay, it's gone. Hello.
Hello.
Your name, please, and where you calling from?
My name is Eme, calling from Lagos.
Okay, go ahead, Emma.
Okay. I think I'd mentioned. I think I tried to call before, but maybe you didn't hear me well. I was saying that this constitution, how proper and representative is it, considering that it was put together by a military government, by a cabal, a set of people that was not properly constituted, did not represent us, and that is why that constitution, is skewed towards favoring a particular section of this country and is hindered progress, both economically and politically. This constitution is hindering progress. And what will it take, really? Because we have been clamoring for restructuring. We have been clamoring for a conference of the people that will ensure that we have a constitution that represents us and that helps us move forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry? Yeah, it's gone. Sorry, I think you've asked your question. I don't know whether you cut you off. Next caller, please. Hello? Okay, next caller. Hello?
Hello, good
yes,
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Thank you very much. You have Mr. Sam calling from Ikorodu.
Okay, Mr. Sam, go ahead.
Yes. Madam, presently, the judicial officers in almost all the states are in strike because the state governors refuse to implement separation of power, giving the state judicial autonomous. Is it the fault of the president or the constitution? Please, that is what I want to know. Thank you very much.
Can you ask the question again, please? I don't think we got that. Hello?
Okay, I'm saying that presently, the judicial workers in almost all the states are on strike because the state governors refuse to implement this autonomous of the judicial workers. For instance, like the court workers.
Okay, right. Those in the okay, all right, I get you. They're on strike right now. Is that what you're saying?
The fault of the constitution or the president.
Okay, is it the constitution or the president? Okay, thank you. Hello, what's your name and where you calling from, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Ken from Ikeja.
Hello.
Yeah, first of all, let me thank you for this program, for the idea of bringing knowledge to people. Because day in, day out, when we listen to Nigeria Info, I believe from the way people ask questions and comment, they actually do not know anything about how Nigeria is governed, the constitution and all that. This is a very laudable program. I hope you continue it.
We're all learning.
Don't allow the callers, some of the callers who are still trying to use their own knowledge to distract what you're doing. Please, just focus and give us the good knowledge. Let Nigeria learn from what you're doing.
Okay.
Let me talk about one of the comment one guy made. He was talking about Yaradua, Jonathan, and Obasanjo were not using this constitution. That was why their government was different from Buhari's government. And he also said people were not agitating for constitutional review. Because people were agitating for constitutional review, that was why Obasanjo set up what they called confab, for people to come together and formulate how they want to be governed. Jonathan also did his own constitutional review. If there was no agitation, I don't think there was need for them to do that. So there have been agitation right from long ago that we don't even know. But the truth is that we don't learn and we don't even remember history. I think you should even title this program Social Study so that we just know that we are learning the elementary part of government. So that people we know, we are ignorant. And the problem we are having today, apart from the fact that, our leaders are not doing the right thing and all that, it is we. The leaders are from us. They are from within us. They are our brothers, our uncles, aunties, and all that. They come from within us. The percentage of the bad people in government is still the representation.
I'm going to have to rush you, I'm afraid. We have so many calls coming in, and we've still got a lot to cover, and we have like less than 20 minutes left. Thank you so much for your comment. Right. So, Lara, we've talked about the presidential and the parliamentary, right? how do you say, we've done the comparison.
Absolutely.
Somebody also asked a question about the current strike going on in the judicial system. Is it the fault of the president or is it the job of the president to resolve all the constitution? What does that say?
So I really love, holding public officials accountable, just like the next person. But when it comes to constitutionalism, there is a need to, I always say this, right, that constitutions in themselves are not adequate to solve the problems that a state might come up with. What is needed is constitutionalism. What is constitutionalism? The process of using and abiding by and adhering to a constitution.
Say that again slowly, please.
Constitutionalism is the process through which we abide with, adhere to the constitution that is written. So the constitution itself is a piece of paper. Without constitutionalism, constitutions are useless. They're just at best beautifully written, or in our case, a beautifully written piece of paper handed to us by the military, right? So the issue around implementation of a constitution lies with everyone within the government primarily.
Okay, I've got to move you on. We have calls, but we've still got 2 more to cover. Yes. So now, let's talk the Jaga Jaga road that's called reform versus restructuring. First of all, what is the difference? Because people use both words interchangeably. So first of all, tell us the difference. Yeah. And then I want us to kind of get to a place where, do we turn left to confab or do we turn right to referendum? And what do the people want? Okay. It's critical that we cover that.
Absolutely.
Sorry, callers, I'll be back with you in a few minutes.
Absolutely. I'll take this as quickly as I can. So let's look at the word reform. It basically means an amendment of what is defective, right? It could be a part of it. It could be a whole of it, right? But restructuring means to change the organization of.
Aha.
That's short. To change.
As in break it and rebuild.
Absolutely.
Pata, pata.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if you look at the history that we have pursued from last week till now, you would realize that the British created this country for a purpose. That purpose seems to not be working for we the citizens of that country, of this country. So, do we turn, reform, remove a couple bad things, replace them with a couple of good things, or do we change the organization of the entity called Nigeria? Should we all discuss and say, look, this is how we want to proceed from here. This is what has been done so far. We recognize it, we understand it, we're going to take it apart, and a new nation will emerge. These are the things that are in the minds of people, especially someone like me. I'm thinking, do we do the shortcut reform and let the National Assembly take the lead on a couple of things and blah, blah, blah? No. I think that the kind of defect that we see in the Nigerian system now cannot be parked at the foot of anyone directly. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't hold your legislators or your elected officials accountable. It means that to reform, to restructure this country, all of us will have to be informed and involved.
Right. So does that now take us into that place, that road, that Jaga road called confab or referendum?
Okay. So,
but before you answer that question, we've only got 10 minutes. I've got to read out messages, answer calls, and answer that. You've got to answer that question for us. Right. So I have comments on Facebook. Daddy, you? Okay, you. I beg your pardon. We all need to have a copy of the Constitution in our homes. Every citizen should be able to contribute to its improvement. You can actually download it. You probably don't realize. On Google Play Store, I've done it. I have it on my phone. So go ahead and do so. Second comment. Thank you all for all your time this week, last week, to educate us on the important topic. Third comment. It's been extremely helpful as an American looking from the outside in. I love your enthusiasm for the topic and appreciate all your candor. Thank you. We appreciate you too. We're going to take those calls trying to come in. Hello, what's your name and where you calling from? And you've got 20 seconds, please. Your comment. Okay, next one. Hello, what's your name and where you calling from? 20 seconds, please. Your comment.
This is a calling from Odogbolo, Ogun State.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to ask, please, don't be annoyed. This old constitution and the development of Nigeria, don't you think that constitution is old for Nigeria? We need a new constitution so that we can follow the world as it goes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another call coming in. Your name?
Ireti Bakari.
Yes, Bakari
Good afternoon,
Yusuf. Good afternoon, sir.
I know some of us know it too much. I mentioned the past president. What I said, it wasn't like this during their tenure. That is what I said.
Yeah.
I know they're agitating. This president was agitating. What move did he make? Which some people will call and say, oh, they don't know the constitutional history or whatever. They marketed this government to us. The thing is worse now. That is the truth. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. Right. We have a comment. Thank you, Nigeria Info, for this great program. Been watching and loving it since last Friday. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes. Hello, sir. Your
Good
name?
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Charles.
Hello, Charles.
Yes.
You've got 20 seconds, please, sir.
Okay. Just a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Is it the Constitution? Does the Constitution empower the president to appoint a retired military colonel to head the customs? Good afternoon.
Right. Good afternoon. Can you answer that? We might as well go straight to the answer.
Well, I believe that the Constitution provides for what is needed for each role, and whatever choices that the government must make must align with the Constitution. If it turns out that it doesn't, then you must hold them accountable.
And the president can choose who he wants,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. It's his job.
For things that are within his purview.
Absolutely. But the important thing we should think about when we think about the office of the president is that there is oversight done by the legislature.
That's right.
So if the president appoints someone, they have to go through a legislative process to become confirmed, right?
Yes.
And so that is the process for which this is done. And I don't think that being a former military person precludes you from holding such a role. It hasn't precluded people from being president of this country, as we know.
Exactly. And just remember that. So think of the NAS as the HR in this case.
Absolutely.
We all need to get confirmed in our jobs. They too would have to get confirmed by the NAS. Right. We have... Hello. What's your name and where you're calling from, please?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Ruben from Yaba.
Hello, Ruben. 20 seconds.
I want to suggest that we should review the Constitution at least every 50 years or every 60 years.
Okay.
So that we can reflect what's happening all over the world.
Thank you very much. Right, Lara, we need to get back to... Right, so do we go to the referendum? Because one of the things we're saying is we all need to be involved. It needs to represent what we want. Yeah. So do we go confab or do we go referendum?
So,
how do we ensure we the people, are the ones that actually own the next, if ever they do a restructuring, the next constitution?
Absolutely. So, personally, I believe in referendums. Everything under the sun has its merits and demerits, right? But I will tell you why I believe referendum. Let me begin actually with the procedure for constitutional amendment embedded within the Constitution. If you want to read more, go to Section 8 of the 1999 Constitution. That will help you. So, this is a very stringent